Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and this is the SmackDown recap show for the WrestleMania go home show for SmackDown Live. That is the April 2nd, 2019 edition. And that was a show that happened, pretty much. Wouldn't you all say? Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you all concur with that statement? It's a show that happened. I'm moving some stuff around here on my desk. Apparently, I'm not quite ready. There we go. I want to thank you all for joining me right now. I want to thank everyone who's joining me live currently on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. We've got a full house again this evening of chat folk who are joining me live, because that's what happens when you join live. There's a nice little chat room that appears, and then you can I weird myself out with my fingers. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of people that come here and chat, and it's very friendly. It's very welcoming. Chat all sorts of stuff about wrestling. Who's here tonight? I'm glad you asked. There's Kristen Ashley, the delight. Robert Lashley. Change your name, Robert Larry. That's what you're called from now on. I'm calling you Robert Lashley. Blaine Mendoza, Maven Glean, Kevin Carroll is here as well. Jamie J. King, Jamie Tannick, Joe Anthony, CM Phil. Yeah, man. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of folks here again this evening. I want to thank you all for joining me, but perhaps you can't make it on a Tuesday night at 10:30 p.m. and that's understandable. We all have lives. We all have stuff to do. I don't expect you to bend your schedule to my whims. That's fine. There was a you before Warren Hayes. So basically, you could be watching this, at your own leisure, and I appreciate that. And whether you're watching it live here on YouTube or later, do consider giving the video a thumbs up. That would really help out tremendously. It really does help out a lot. I've been noticing just how much it has been contributing to the viewership of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. So I appreciate if you do. You can also send the link out, share it with your family and friends. That's always fun. But then, here on top of that, if you maybe you don't like to watch me, maybe you just want to listen to me stammer instead, well, you can do that on your favorite podcast application. I'm on all of them. All of your favorite podcasting applications, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, Himalaya. I'm there. You just have to type in Mr. Warren Hayes and you can find my show. You can subscribe or follow there. Leave a comment, leave a like, a review, whatever's expected of you. Those things really do help out. They really, really do. It seems inconsequential, and I know everyone asks for you to do it. But there's a reason why everyone asks you to do it, and that's because it does help out a lot. A lot. So there we go. So yeah. Hey, tomorrow's Wednesday. We're in the midst of WrestleMania week, so there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Usually on Wednesday, as you know, if you're a regular watcher, listener, I do my 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on Fightful Select, the premium service to Fightful.com, premier combat sport news site. If by any chance you decide to head on over to Fightful Select tomorrow to watch my show, well, do know something. So there'll be a little something special. Be forewarned. Be aware that my show tomorrow evening will be offered up as a free preview to Fightful Select. So everyone will be able to watch it, not just FightfulSelect.com members. Everyone will. So if you're not sure about joining Select, well, here's a good opportunity to get acquainted with what I do on Wednesdays, and maybe that will push you over. And there's so much other content as well. You get so many members-only podcasts. You get news previews. You get Sean, who does the Fightful Report every Wednesday. You have Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender over the weekends. But tomorrow, your boy Warren is offered up free. They removed the shackles off of Warren tomorrow. They're putting me into the world, into the great blue yonder or something. So there you go. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. Of course, it's Mania week, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Thursday, I will be doing my Takeover special. My Takeover New York prediction show, and I will be joined by Omega Luke of the Omega Luke podcast. That's going to be a delight. Luke is a fantastic guy. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to have him on the show. He's an incredible podcaster, a great communicator. He has a great mind for booking, and we will be talking about. Plus, he's British. We'll be talking about TakeOver New York this weekend. We're going to be going over the matches, our predictions, talking about the build-up and so on and so forth. Looking forward to having him on the show. That should be around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because I want to accommodate my guest who is on a completely alien time zone. So there we go. So that's one thing there. Then on Friday, I'll be joining Sean Ross Sapp and Alex Pulowski for the TakeOver New York post show over on Fightful.com. Hopefully you'll join us there. Saturday morning, I'm doing something cool. I'm doing something really nutty nut bar. I'm doing a WrestleMania prediction show. I'm calling it the WrestleMania Bonanza prediction show because I've invited a sack full of wrestling content creators, writers, podcasters, bloggers. I've invited a whole bunch of people to come and join me on an open freeform sort of talk show situation where I'll try and moderate as many of these egos as possible. But no, it's kind of like when I did the Ronda Rousey Surprise Thursday stream a few weeks ago, where I just tossed out the link to a bunch of people, and they started coming in, giving opinions. That's what we're going to do. So I don't know who's going to show up. I've invited a ton of people, and I'm not going to tell you who they are because I don't want to put any undue pressure on certain people. But I've invited a whole bunch of folks. We'll see who shows up. It'll be a surprise. It'll be a surprise for me. It'll be a surprise for you. And we'll all be talking about WrestleMania, so it's going to be a good time. Saturday, 11 o'clock a.m. in the morning. That's what I'm going to be doing. And then breaking a little bit from, well, actually a lot, from WWE stuff, I'm going to be watching the G1 Supercard, and I'll be recapping it with Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful afterwards. That'll be fun. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat right now are looking forward to the G1 Supercard. Because I am. I'm a New Japan guy, much more than a Ring of Honor guy. I love me some New Japan. I'm looking forward to these matches. I'm looking forward to Okada versus Jay White, but I got to tell you, I said it last night, I'm going to say it again. Jeff Cobb versus Will Ospreay. Sign me up for that. That's going to be some tasty stuff. Don't know what. Feel free, chat, to let me know who you guys, what matches of the G1 Supercard you're looking forward to. And then WrestleMania, well, I'm kicking back and I'm enjoying the show. I have nothing planned after, and that's fine because I already feel like I'm losing my voice. I'm kidding. I'm not losing my voice just yet. I take care of my voice with a concoction of milk and honey. All right, let's move on. Let's start this. Let's start talking about the Go Home show, SmackDown Live. What'd you guys think? When did you guys think of about SmackDown Live? Let me know. We'll see as we go along. The evening starts off with the Kevin Owens show, starring Kevin Owens, who is in the ring. He has his whole setup. He has his little notes, his little cue cards. He's not wearing his tie. And I tweeted this out to Kevin. I said, where's the tie? Because the tie brings your entire suit together, Kevin. It brings it all together. I don't know what you're doing, to be perfectly honest. So basically he's in the ring and he starts off and he says, he has his cue cards and he says, let me introduce my first guest. He picks up his cards and he says, the Viper. And he switches his card. Randy Orton. Oh, it's just small and insignificant, but what a wonderful detail. Kevin Owens, man, he is a treat. We're blessed to have him back. So Randy Orton comes out with the full Randy Orton entrance for good or ill. And then Kevin Owens invites AJ Styles out. So they're both in the ring. They're sitting across from each other. They cut themselves some promos. Orton says he's proud of beating up a washed up Olympian and saving the WWE from seeing that match last week of AJ Styles and between AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. AJ says Orton's been in the ring for over 20 years, but he's only learned one move. Of course, Randy says when your one move essentially murders everyone, why would you try harder? Wow. They do some more indie wrestling versus WWE stuff, and AJ drops the drug test suspensions on Randall to a very much, on my part, for those of you watching right now on YouTube, I'll do it again. This is mostly for you, just so you can get the full effect. You ready? Yeah, that was something special, wasn't it? Digging that up. He didn't answer. He didn't respond. He moved right into talking about AJ Styles' legacy. He says that now that Cena's gone to Hollywood, you have assumed the role of corporate bitch. And Kevin Owens just like, well, I'm about to go this way kind of thing. He just like stands up and he just walks out of the ring because he knows what. I kind of like this shtick now. He's done it twice, right? On his show where he just like, well, I know you guys are about to beat each other up, so I'm just going to walk away. I like it. I thought that was funny. So they go after each other. They basically start fighting each other. Some brawling happens, and AJ Styles goes for the phenomenal forearm, but it's countered into an RKO. It can really come out of nowhere. I don't know if you've heard, but RKOs, they just... I kind of wonder if this invariably means that AJ Styles is going to win at WrestleMania. I'm not doing predictions because I'm doing predictions this Saturday in my predictions WrestleMania Bonanza predictions show. Yeah, I kind of wonder what that means then, because this was the obvious RKO spot, right? Countering a phenomenal forearm into the RKO. Now that we've seen it and AJ's expecting it, he's going to be one step ahead. Maybe you can, if Randy Orton wants to really impress me, RKO himself out of a calf crusher. That's something. That's something I'd like to see. Joe Anthony says, I think I'm psychic because RKOs are usually out of somewhere for me. And he also asks, is you failed drug tests the equivalent to someone saying bitch on the mic? Well, we got both. We got both. So I guess maybe it is. Maybe it's even now. Next, we have Aleister Black and Ricochet and the Usos versus The Bar and Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. So this was probably the best match of the evening. We have Cesaro starting off against Ricochet. Cesaro interrupts a Hurricane Rana. He blocks it. But Ricochet nonetheless gets out of it and lands on his feet, runs the ropes, and rolls Cesaro up for 2. But Ricochet shortly after that runs into a hell of a European uppercut by Cesaro. Sheamus then presses Ricochet over his head, but he flies off. He just floats off of Sheamus's press and tags Aleister Black in, who hits the lion salt on Sheamus, does his combination offensive strikes, leg sweep, and covers Sheamus, but only gets dos. The Usos come in. They double team Sheamus for a bit, but Sheamus takes out Jey Uso, who becomes your baby face in peril for the majority of this match. Nakamura is in. He hits some knees on Jey Uso. Jey Uso tries to fight back with some strikes. He sends Nakamura into the ropes, but and he runs the ropes as well. But Rusev lowers the top rope, and Jey tumbles to the outside. Rusev is the legal man now. He goes outside. He drives Jey into the steel steps, then into the barricade. Nakamura's in. Then with Jey, runs the ropes, but eats a back elbow from Jey Uso, who rolls to the outside. Back from commercial, Rusev and Nakamura wishbone Mr. Jey Uso. It's kind of unfortunate when you think about it that Jey Uso doesn't have a full name. He just has an initial. Nakamura lays Jey Uso on the top rope, hits his running knee, covers him, but only gets 2. Eventually, Jey does get a Samoan drop on Shinsuke and hot tags to Jimmy, who takes out everyone. Rusev avoids a Samoan drop but eats a super kick instead. He gets covered, but Nakamura breaks up the pin attempt. Ricochet then comes in with a drop kick on Nakamura. Pop-up European uppercut by Cesaro. Hell of one. I don't know. I know Cesaro is able to deliver a nasty European uppercut, but I don't know if it's a combination of that or Ricochet's capacity to properly eat a European uppercut, or both. But man, that was something. That was a hell of a blast that Ricochet ate there. So Cesaro then gets kicked by Aleister. Sheamus knees Aleister Black. Sheamus then gets taken out himself. Rusev is alone with the Usos. He eats a double super kick, and the Usos cover the Bulgarian Brute and win the match, by the way. Then Alexa Bliss comes out. Wow, what a shocking turn of events, a surprise. She comes out as the official host of WrestleMania, is what she says. And she says, she basically talks to the Usos and she says, your act of selflessness, not shellfish. You don't do an act of shellfishness. That's just stupid, Warren. No, she says your act of selflessness that you did last week, allowing the New Day a bye so that Kofi could advance, so that the New Day could advance in the gauntlet match to get Kofi into WrestleMania. She said it was very, very good, but it's also very, very bad, and you need it's worthy of repercussions. I'm like, wait, huh? repercussions. And basically, she sets up a match where it's all four of those teams that we just saw again at WrestleMania. Okay. All right. I have some questions. I have some questions. First of all, I guess becoming WrestleMania host means that you become the booker? You get handed the book? What was the other match? Chad, help me out here. What was the other match that Alexa booked a couple of weeks ago? She did the exact same thing. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly what it was. But she did set up a match for WrestleMania as well, and I'm like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. So that's the first thing. The second thing, why give us the four-way tonight if that's what you're giving us for WrestleMania? Why not just give the repercussions, like have the Usos fight Shinsuke and Rusev, and then have the repercussions happen after? I don't know. But here's the other thing, and it's not as much of a question as a statement. That means by booking this match, that means that within the space of 1 week, Aleister Black and Ricochet will have challenged for the Raw Tag Team titles, the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and the NXT Tag Team titles, all in the same week. That's kind of crazy. And what's even crazier is that they're pulling double duty then, WrestleMania weekend. They're going to be wrestling on Friday, then on Sunday. And people told me I was nuts when I had fantasy booked the Boss and Hug Connection defending their titles at NXT TakeOver against Io Shirai and Kairi Sane. Oh, I won't do double duty. I have to wrestle twice in WrestleMania weekend. Well, there. Look at that. Did we figure it out, guys? What was the other match that Alexa did? Oh, she put the NSNL guys in, and she made the match between Elias and No Way Jose. There you go. Thank you, Maven. That's exactly what it was. Maven Glean, keeping us honest. But thank you for that. Kevin Carroll says 2 fatal 4-way tag titles on one card doesn't scream great booking to me. No, it doesn't. It's more of a let's get everyone on the card situation. That's more what we're going through here. And CM Phil says, why tease the Hardys would get a shot and then throw them in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal? I was wondering the exact same thing. They obviously brought back the Hardys for a reason, right? There's a reason why the Hardys were brought back. And we all assumed it was for a WrestleMania match against the Usos. Now they're just, I don't know either. I have no idea. I have no idea why they did that either. It's very, very bizarre. Next, we had the Iconics cutting a promo, and it's something that happened because it was really just a promo. Standard, fine, because I like the Iconics. I like the promos, and I know a lot of people don't care about the Iconics and their promos. I know, a few members of my very, very elite chat here as well. They're not very keen on the Iconics as well. But I'll tell you one thing: it wasn't necessarily prevalent tonight. But Billie Kay is really coming into her own. I think she's finding a spot as a comedy wrestler. I really do think that she's coming into her own on that level because she has fantastic timing. She has great mannerisms. She has a great grasp for wrestling psychology as well. I think she's if they use her properly, of course, that's always the caveat, right? If they use her properly, she could definitely do something on that level. She could definitely do something good on that level. Next, we have The Miz, who is in a 3-on-1 match against Sanity. I'm still trying to understand what's going on. Anyway, he comes to the ring with the microphone. He cuts a promo first and foremost before anything else happens. You know, he says WrestleMania is coming. This is for Becky and Charlotte and Ronda. To them, WrestleMania this year it's about making history. For Kofi, it's about finally breaking through, and for me, it's about retribution. He says, right now I'm offering you people the best version of The Miz because this is the one that's filled with love, or something to that approval, something to that effect, I should say. He the love of his family, of Monroe and Maurice. And he said, he used to fight for the approval of his dad, but now he's fighting for his honor, something to that effect. And he says the most curious line that has been spoken so far on World Wrestling Entertainment programming in 2019. He says, Shane, you have a dad, so I guess that makes you a son of a bitch. And I put a certain amount of thought into this, a non-negligible amount of time thinking about this line, spinning it in my head, trying to understand what Miz meant here. I'm going to be upfront with y'all. I have no idea how that sentence even makes sense. I am fully expecting you folks in the chat to break this one apart. How having a father makes one a son of a bitch. I don't get it. I'm not getting it. So basically, after this, Shane comes out. No, not Shane comes out. Sanity comes out, and their entrance makes me nauseous. It's bad camera work. And they hit the ring, but here comes Shane, though. Shane says he wants to see this one up close and personal, and he asks Greg Hamilton, the ring announcer, to introduce him properly. Anyway, not much is added here, and the match starts, and Eric Young goes right after The Miz. He's got him in the corner. He is driving some fists right in his face, or Miz actually is doing that on Eric Young, but Eric Young reverses it with a neck breaker, and we cut to commercial. Back from commercial, Miz is fighting back against Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. He back body drops Eric Young, corner knees to Dane and Young. That Shane comes back out suddenly, and he says, I forgot something, by the way. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match, and it starts maintenant. Right now. And he says, by the way, I just want to point up here to the Titantron. I want to show you the photograph. And this is Shane that says this. He says, I just want to show you the photograph that I'm using right now on my phone's screensaver. What is the... What? Shane, your dadness is showing, Shane. You sounded like a dad on that one. Hey, I'm a dad too. I know phones don't have screensavers. You can go back and use your Pentium 3 desktop. Go play a game of Mule on your computer, maybe on your Tandy. Maybe you dream of having, screensavers with flying toasters on them, or with decks of cards bouncing around, and you can't, because all you have is a Tandy where you can play, where you can only play like as a Mule and Defender of the Crown. I mean, and if anyone here in chat is getting all these references, we can be best friends. Yes, I'm a dad. Y'all seem shocked. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. So basically they fight into the audience now. They're going to the audience, and I like this. I like the visuals of a brawl into the audience, and when they start going towards the equipment areas. I like it. I like the visuals of it. Miz actually drives Alexander Wolf through a table. He covers Wolf, but Young breaks up the pin. And Miz and Young wrestle backstage, and basically it's all Miz just tossing Eric Young into stuff. At some point he covers Young, but Killian Dane comes in to break it up. Dane gets pushed into the wall. They're outside the arena now, where Miz knees Young in the face against some kind of road case that has a tarp on it, I guess. Then Miz takes a rolling bin and shoves it against Young. And he covers him and gets the win. Then he turns around to see Shane McMahon driving off in a limousine, almost going like this. My plan has come to fruition. I'd love if Shane actually talked like that. Hello, my name is Shane McMahon. That'd be fantastic. Not only because it'd make me laugh, but because my impression then of Shane McMahon would be spot on. What do we do? Yes, I just said hello. By the way, hello, sports and things. Thank you for joining in. I just turned my head here to see people here talking about like some. Yes, I'm a dad, and now we're talking. I have dad hair. What do you mean I have dad hair? What's wrong with my hair? My hair is fine. I don't even know what that means. What is dad hair? Dad hair. No, it's not. It's not Elder Warren on you people. Anyway, let's go back to the commentary about the match, right? Let's talk about that for a second. Sanity back in NXT. If y'all want to remember, if you want to take a moment, like just to settle yourselves in like this, Sanity. There was a time in NXT, right? These guys were a force. They were dominant. They were NXT Tag Team Champions. They were a crazy faction. They had Nikki Cross. Remember that? She was Insanity. You know how great that was? You know how fantastic that was? I remember how fantastic that was. And their whole shtick, right, is that they're crazy, chaotic, cuckoo guys. That they prefer not to play by the rules. That's their MO. That's where they feel most comfortable, right? Is by just going straight in, doing crazy shit. So if, first of all, the Miz beating 3 guys is somewhat improbable. Whether you're aware of Sanity's history or not, or any other team, it's just weird. But then if it becomes a false count anywhere and it becomes chaos, well, Sanity, technically speaking, is in its wheelhouse. It has the leg up on Miz at this point. Like, this was a match designed for Sanity. And wouldn't it have been just a little more interesting to the build-up that Shane McMahon would have abused his power to make this match, and that Sanity just beat the shit out of The Miz. Like, I mean, beat him up, so that we can get some sympathy, and instead of Shane driving off, being chauffeured away, if he came in and got a couple of licks in as well, just add just that little tip of extra heat to the feud. It was kind of a womp womp moment for me, because it didn't help elevate Miz all that much. I'm not like, wow, Miz is such a tough guy to have beaten 3 guys. I'm more like, wow, that's, I'm all about suspension of disbelief in wrestling. Trust me, Ronda Rousey drove a car while being handcuffed last night, so I can suspend my disbelief, not a problem. But at some point, just like, and especially, you have Killian Dane, who's huge. I don't know. I don't know why they can't put Sanity over proper. Anyway, but it didn't help Miz all that much. It definitely didn't help Sanity. Didn't help the feud between Shane and Miz. Womp womp, ladies and gentlemen. Womp womp. Okay, so when we come back to the scene and Shane, well, hang on, let me see what you guys are talking about. Richard, what do you mean? I'm not drunk, Richard. I don't drink when I do streams. I don't. I'm not drunk. Jamie Tannick says that the fact that I don't know what dad here is proves that I have it. Kids today. Joe Anthony says that Sanity had a terrific NXT run. Dad hair worn needs to be on a shirt. Blaine, you're a mod. You should know better. Pretty much everyone is agreeing here that Sanity deserves better. Sports Things, CM Phil, Joe Anthony, everyone sort of agrees here. Bob Aruski, nice to see you. So as Shane drives off, a cop car arrives, and out of the car comes Becky Lynch. I posted this on Twitter, and I'll say it here on the stream. It is a sad state of affairs, ladies and gentlemen, that police officers of the law, peacekeepers, men and women that are expected to ensure our safety on a daily basis, put their lives on the line to make sure that we can go to a fast food joint and get the burgers we want safely. It is just shame. It is a shame. That might or may not be something I did today. It is a shame that that police officers must moonlight as Uber drivers to make ends meet. Because look at that. I had to drive Becky Lynch over. Hopefully, it was an Uber. We didn't see her pay. Hopefully she didn't even leave him a tip. Hopefully she left the tip digitally, Becky. Otherwise, that's a heel move right there. Not tipping your Uber driver. It's a heel move. Anyway, that leads us into a recap of last night's Wild Brawl, which, by the way, even after retrospect, thinking about it this morning, I really liked it. It was fun. And if you didn't like it, you're some kind of old fogey like Chris Spizak. That's right, I called him out. Old man Spizak. Driving around, kicking through windows. I remember the good old days when a bear hug would end a match. That's my imitation of Chris Spizak of the Spies and the Benchmark Show, which you should watch, by the way. They're on Mondays and Wednesdays, I think now. They've changed their schedule around a bit. Fantastic guys and a super friendly podcast, fan-friendly podcast. Do check them out. I love Chris. I love Silky Barnes. I love Silky a little more. Anyway, okay, so Corey Graves is in the ring and he invites Becky out. She of course comes to a big reaction, but she doesn't hit the ring. She goes on the commentary table and basically tells Graves, she says, nothing against you, Graves, but I don't answer to anyone. I don't answer to you. I answer to these people here. Basically runs down what a difference a year makes. Last year, Charlotte and I were best friends. Ronda was about to debut. The plan was set in motion. Charlotte versus Ronda at WrestleMania. But how things changed at SummerSlam. The real revolution started there with the slap. And I'm going to explode this thing on Sunday when I make one of those two dopes tap. I love the way she says dopes. I'm glad she's bringing it back. I think that's fantastic. And she says, next time you see me, I'll be a double champ. I want her to be champ. That's honestly. Well, no, I don't want to get into predictions. You're gonna have to come in over on Saturday for my WrestleMania Bonanza, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with a bunch of people. Jay King says, not gonna lie, that was a clean transition to the Becky segment. Oh, absolutely. I have no problems with that. Jamie Tannick says, when you're about to become the champ, you get a police escort. It's just the rules. Blaine says the police academy is passing everybody nowadays. And CM Phil says, when Becky got out of the police car and I wasn't happy to see her, I had to finally accept that I'm not excited for the main event anymore. It will be a good match, but yeah, just get it over with. I got to tell you, they did run out of steam on the feud. The match on Sunday is going to be great. It cannot be anything but great. There's too much talent in that ring. Regardless of how you felt about the build-up, the match ultimately is what we're going to remember. I am the first to criticize the build-up, how heavy-handed it was, and I only wish that they had done last night's wild kick fest, handcuffs and kicks and car wrecks. That would have made me happy if they had done it a couple of weeks ago instead of all these injuries and arrests and suspension shenanigans and relinquishing titles. It just got so heavy-handed. Whereas it's like I often say, you just let the wrestlers tell the stories and we'll be fine. Right. So then we got something that really made me groan out loud. 18-person mixed tag team match. Ugh. That was I get it. And anyway, okay, look. It wasn't bad. It was well paced. It came together with a certain panache. It's not a wrestling classic what we saw. Wasn't even all that entertaining right up until they started until a schmoz hit after there was a dance break that was interrupted by Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Was it Carl Anderson who interrupted the dance break? And then you realize what this is for, folks. It is another excuse for them when the schmoz hits and everyone starts fighting each other. Then you realize, oh, wait a second. This is just another situation, another opportunity for them to remind us of the rules of a battle royal. Because then they all start fighting. The bell is rung because it's a tag team match, right? Ref rings the bell, calls for the DQ. I don't give a shit who won. And they all start throwing themselves over the top rope as if it's suddenly a battle royal. Now, I told you guys last night how I feel about these things because WWE always feels compelled, in case you didn't tune in last night, they always feel compelled when a battle royal is coming up on a major event. They feel compelled to create the situation where people start tossing themselves over the top rope just so that we're reminded, right, of the rules, right? Because we're fucking hamsters. And here's the deal. Here's the thing. And I got into something with someone on Twitter tonight who said, well, WWE doesn't give a shit about us regular viewers. They're just doing this. Imagine if you're some kind of a new viewer, who tunes in and you don't understand all this stuff. This is, you need to see how this shit works. Literally speaking, a battle royal is the easiest match to understand to anyone who comes into wrestling a complete novice. It is the match that has the simplest rule set. To win the match, you have to toss dudes or dudettes over the top rope. If they fall over the top rope and land on the floor, they're eliminated. A typical wrestling match, a regular wrestling match, is much more complicated to understand because someone can win by pinfall, by submission, by countout, by disqualification. There can also be no contests, double countouts, disqualifications. There is so many rules and possibilities in a typical wrestling match, and WWE doesn't run down the rules every week. A Royal Rumble, a Battle Royal, is literally the easiest match to understand for someone who has never watched it. You sit down with, let's say your friend Galoop Bagloop from Venus comes to visit, and he wants to absorb more human culture, and you say, let's watch a wrestling match. So you sit Galoop Baluk next to you, and you say, and Galoop Baluk says, how does a match work? And you tell your alien friend from Venus, you say, well, the winner is the last person who stays in the ring after everyone is tossed over the top rope. If you get tossed over the top rope, you're eliminated. And Galoop Balloop says, what, that is so simple, I'm entertained now. It's really the simplest, easiest match to understand. It doesn't make sense that every opportunity that WWE has, they feel the need to educate us as to how a a battle royal works. It's aggravatingly stupid, and it's insulting to our collective intelligence at this point. It's so dumb. It's really dumb. And when they started doing battle royals back in the day, they didn't spend time, showing everyone, let's have a little exhibition here to show you how it works. No, it's goddamn, it is the simplest shit. That was my rant. Anyway, I did like the moments towards the end where most people in the match were already tossed out, and you had one thing that sort of creeped me out here was Otis going, pretty lady, like he's somewhere between being mentally challenged and being completely fine. I think he's some kind of weird sociopath. I think that's what Otis Dozovich's character is. Because he sees Mandy and then he starts quaking, and Shelton Benjamin tosses him out. Tosses him out over the second rope. Shelton, come to think of it, maybe wrestlers need the Battle Royal rules repeated to them over and over again. Shelton Benjamin, what the hell, man? over the top rope, not between. We have Jeff Hardy and EC3 also in the ring, and interestingly enough, commentary just mentions, without talking about Impact or TNA, just mentioned the history between EC3 and Jeff Hardy, so that's interesting. And Jeff Hardy hits a twist of fate on EC3, and EC3 hits a kick by Asuka. She gets tossed out, and and that's right. And before that, Nikki Cross went after Shelton. She had him. She was on his back, trying to do Nikki Cross stuff on him. And Asuka eventually tosses Jeff Hardy out, and she's the sole survivor of this non-battle royal. So yeah. Jamie Tannick says, what's dumb about these pre-battle battle royals is that they always take like 90 seconds to clear the ring, but on Sunday it'll take 20 minutes. Hey, by the way, here's something I want to... I'll chat. I just thought about something I wanted to talk about with the Miz, but it's okay. I got this under control, guys. Jamie Tannick says, Galoot is from Venus. He's a man. He's obviously from Mars. Okay. And yes, I did get pretty hype. Joe Anthony says, Otis is a heavy set Forrest Gump, basically, bordering on Simple Jack. That's right. This is what I wanted to... I forgot to mention, if we roll back a little bit, and we... one last thing about Miz beating 3 dudes heading into WrestleMania. How is it anywhere near probable that he is going to lose to Shane McMahon now? How does that even make sense in any form of booking at this point, that he loses to Shane McMahon? He can't now. He defeated 3 guys. Shane is not going to be competition for The Miz at this point. The whole thing just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't work. Next, we have Samoan Joseph versus Mustafa Ali. I know it's just Ali, but they still had Mustafa on his Titantron. Now, I don't know if I noticed here. Maybe it's the first time I noticed, but Ali came out with his shiny gear on, and usually he has a face mask on, right? Is this the first week that he took the face mask off? Because I have been clamoring for him to take the face mask off. It's a cool visual, don't get me wrong, but it didn't work for him, and I never liked it. When he premiered it I think it was at WrestleMania last year, he premiered it with his special gear, and he kept it on 205 Live. I hated it. I really didn't like it. I was not a fan. And I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's been a couple of weeks since he hasn't been using it, but I'm glad he's not. Not much of a match here. Joe beats Mustafa Ali down. Ali runs the ropes, gets popped up, but delivers a drop kick on Joe, who rolls to the outside. He dives onto Joe. Gets him back in the ring. Tornado DDT covers him for 2. Hits the rolling facebuster on Joe. Goes up top for the 450, but Joe rolls out of the way. A coquina clutch has Mustafa Ali pass out. Not tap. Pass out. He passed out a little too quickly for my taste, for my personal palate. I like when my passing out guys take some time. Take some time before they actually lose consciousness. Happened a little quickly on my taste, and that's that. I was actually expecting some kind of swerve here, because I don't know if you've heard the latest news, but Rey Mysterio did hurt his ankle last night on Raw. When he landed a little awkwardly, and I was like, something didn't seem right. Apparently his ankle is injured. They haven't made any changes for WrestleMania, but I thought that with this match, somehow Mustafa would get inserted. Maybe make it a 3-way to take some of the heat off of, some of the pressure off of Mysterio. I don't know. Let's see here. Joe Anthony has a hot take. He says Shane will win with help from Lars Sullivan. That's a hot take if I ever heard one. Jamie Tanning says 4 simple words. Still talking about Shane and Miz. 4 simple words, Warren. Best in the world. J. King noticed that he didn't even try to hide Mustafa, the Mustafa name. Jamie Tanning says Ali lost consciousness like it was a first name. That's a good one. And CM Phil says it's a cool look, but it doesn't really fit his gimmick. Talking about the light thing, but it kind of did because he was calling himself the light in the darkness, for a while. That was part of his thing when he was cutting his promos in 205 Live, when he was cutting them in alleyways. Those tip-top promos that he cut back then. He called himself the light in the darkness shining through bleep, bleep, bloop. So it kind of made sense that he'd come out with the shiny lit-up gear. Yeah. And J. King says, if Joe drops the belt, I'm going to raid Titan Towers and burn the place to the ground. Well, go right ahead. They sold the building anyway. They're moving out. So now, moving on to our main event, contract signing. Nothing more exciting than a contract signing to end your tip-top primo go-home show. Michael Cole is here. So you know this means business. Because they brought Michael Cole over. Michael Cole. Daniel Bryan's already in the ring. He's seated and he tries to silence the very, very hot crowd. The crowd loves them some Kofi Kingston. Bryan says that he's not here to stop. He tells Kofi Kingston, who's also there as well, accompanied by Xavier Woods and Large E. Bryan tells Kofi that he's not here to stop him from signing the contract. He's here to educate the masses. And the crowd is hot, so hot for Kofi. He says, I'm about to teach you a very important life lesson. So here's the life lesson. Do not be complacent the way Kofi has been complacent for the past 11 years. He says, I have another sliver of truth to deliver. Don't be a bystander in your own life like Kofi. Don't sit on the sidelines and wait for other people to push you to the top. Kind of like what the New Day did. Heel things aside, folks, between you and I, that's some pretty solid advice. I appreciate that kind of advice. It's kind of true. That's why I like that's why I like new Daniel Bryan so much. To me, he's just spitting truths. And he says that by the way, there's one more life lesson, Kofi. Don't mistake a fad for reality. I've been in your shoes. I've been in your spot. The way they cheered yes for me is the same way they chant Kofi for you. I know it reverberates through your body, how it makes you feel stronger. But you don't feed off them. They feed off you because they're parasites. He tells Kofi, this is the best it's ever going to be for you, Kofi. And then Kofi interrupts. He grabs the microphone and he says, for months, we've listened to you. Now it's time for me to educate you. You claim you know what I'm feeling, but the more you talk, the more I realize you don't know a thing about me. He says, I watched you become WWE champ within 2 years of joining WWE. I haven't had a world title match in 11 years, and that's okay because it's led to this moment. Basically says he's going to win the title at WrestleMania. And guys, these were two stellar promos. This was a great, as much as I'm not a big fan of main event talkies, this was good. This was really good because, well, on one hand, Daniel Bryan, he's a compelling character. And by the way, guys, let me know what you thought about the segment in the chat. On one hand, you have Daniel Bryan, who is an extraordinarily great talker and who owns this character so much. He's having such a great time being a heel right now. There was no reason why this segment wouldn't go boop, 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 just on that level. But Kofi is speaking very close to his heart. It's very, very credible what he says. It's very, very sincere. And I really love the way he portrays himself with his New Day buddies, where Big E is always over the top and Xavier, very, very outspoken as well. Where Kofi he's subdued, he's focused, keeping his eyes on the prizes. I mean, it's such good character work by everyone here. Solid promo to end with a good old fashioned stare down. I liked it. I liked it on a SmackDown Go Home show that overall, for me, was a bit of a stinkeroo. I didn't like it. Thought it was a little dull. There was one entertaining match on it, which was the four-way match, which we're going to get again at WrestleMania. But I thought this was very, very lackluster. And to a certain degree, and I don't want to get into, this type of speculation all that much, but WrestleMania this year does feel a little slapdash, just hastily put together. Let's just toss some people together, see what happens. There's some storylines that are very well done. We've seen the progression. It's been coming for months. For once, WWE at the same time is actually listening to the room, reacting to crowd reactions, and switching things around. Kofi Kingston probably wasn't penciled in last October to be in the WrestleMania, to be challenging for the WWE Championship. We all know Becky Lynch wasn't at SummerSlam. She wasn't in the cards either. We all know that by now. So there's good on that part. But the undercard feels... Oh, the undercard is it's a little bloated. It feels a little hastily put together. But one thing that I don't want anyone to misconstrue here, you will not hear from your boy Warren that, WrestleMania is so long, starts at 5, there's 11 million matches, 7 hours, so many hours, it's going to finish at 2 a.m., god damn it. No, listen, we always go in with that level of apprehension, right? Where we sit down and it's like, well, all right, I'm in for a slog. But honestly, it's WrestleMania. This is where we're supposed to celebrate our love of wrestling in and about itself. It's a spectacle. It's huge. I love wrestling. I love watching wrestling. Sometimes wrestling makes watching wrestling difficult, but nonetheless, I enjoy it. I love it. I want to have a good time watching it. I'm not going to sit around and bitch because WrestleMania starts at 5 p.m. I'm not. It's just enjoy it. If there's ever a moment where you can just unplug and let the show take you away, take it away. Will all the matches be great? No, of course not. Of course not. Temper your expectations, folks. That's all you need to do. And we'll talk about it on Monday. And we'll see, if it was a stinker or not. But I'm definitely not going to sit here and complain about the length of the show. It's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania week. Man, there's so many fantastic things going on. It's WrestleMania creates the opportunity for wrestling fans to enjoy wrestling, whatever level, on whatever level. Hell, we even have New Japan this weekend in North America running a show on WrestleMania weekend. I mean, isn't that just... It's fantastic. There's honestly never been a better time to be a wrestling fan. To enjoy wrestling as it is today, as it's presented today, with the possibilities, the options. I don't know. It's easy to be cynical, and it's very easy to be cynical, and it's harder to just appreciate the wonder of it and the show of it, the spectacle, the possibilities, the choice, the options that you have as a wrestling fan these days. And I feel like WrestleMania does that. WrestleMania week, the whole week does that. So if I were to ask you one thing this weekend, is just enjoy it. Just jump in and see what happens, and just take the moment to celebrate the fact that you're a wrestling fan, because this is what this weekend is about. Well, there you go. I'm gonna end it on that. That's a good way to bring. That's a good way to put a nice little bow on it, right? It's heartfelt, sincere, and something that's very heartfelt and sincere that I want to tell you as well is come and join me tomorrow evening for my 205 Live NXT UK recap show on Fightful.com. Not just Fightful Select, Fightful.com. It'll be offered as a free preview, so everyone can join in. So that'll be cool, and I hope you guys have an opportunity to check that out. It will be on the Fightful YouTube channel, not my own, on the Fightful YouTube channel. So that'll be really cool. Immediately after NXT UK, I'll be here. So that'll be fantastic. And don't forget on Thursday to join me and Omega Luke for my TakeOver prediction show. Friday over on Fightful. Anyway, you come back on Thursday and I'll tell you about the other things that are happening in the next few days. I want to thank everyone who joined me in the chat tonight for this. Guys, everyone in the chat, you make it so special. You make it, you keep it friendly and civil. Even, and I know you guys don't always agree. There's disagreements, but man, nobody jumps at each other's throats. Nobody's trolling each other. Nobody's just being a jackass. And I appreciate that. I feel like we have a good thing I feel we have a good thing going, guys. I really do. Well, thank you very much for joining me live. Thank you very much for listening, wherever you're listening to me right now. And, well, I'll see you next time.